What's up? I know it's the NFL offseason, but guess what? It's always a sweet life here. We're ready to go. The NFL boys might have stopped their work, but we keep grinding on. We are here. We are going to do our Sweet Life mock draft 1.0. Um, Probably the only mock draft you're going to need to watch. Jack, how are we doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal, and I don't know. Don't say that it's the only one they need to watch because we might
As
have more mock
we got
draft.
more in the future. What I meant by that is don't listen to that fool Mel Kiper. All right, but how this is going to run down, we're going to split the picks. We're going to go back and forth. I will take the odd number picks. Jack's going to take the even number picks. Kind of doing that so I get the Green Bay pick and Jack gets the Eagles pick.
The Super Bowl
Next week we'll
winning,
probably
the
flip.
Super Bowl winning Eagles.
Super Bowl winning Eagles. Yeah. All right. We are going to do this first one. We're going to assume no trades, even though Jack and I both think there will be trades in there.
Oh, there's
Usually
gonna be
often
some trades. There's gonna be some trades, all right. But we'll keep it family, well, as family friendly as possible. But we'll keep it
everyone's going
clean.
to stay put today, is what we're going to say.
hmm
All right, but anyway, we're going to.
Hypothetical, no trades, and you get the number one overall pick, Cody.
Yes, sir. And
A
we're
lot
going
of
to
talk
start.
about this pick.
A lot to talk about. So, a lot of echoes going on that Tennessee might go for a bridge quarterback, say Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford. I don't think they necessarily care for the quarterbacks in this draft. So,
I
with
agree.
that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take Abdul Carter here. I know news just came out today about some injury, maybe concerns, but Carter doesn't seem to be concerned about him. A lot of people don't seem to be concerned about it. I think Tennessee just takes the best player here. If they don't trade back, I think they ultimately will end up trading back. But for the sake of this draft, I will have them take Abdul Carter here.
Yeah, I'm glad we're actually in agreement on that. I didn't even tell you that off air yet, but I think that number one is 100% a trade spot for the Titans to trade down.
I think they absolutely trade back.
Maybe a team like G-Men, maybe even the Raiders trade up to number one.
I think it'll be the Jets. I
Jets,
think the Jets
Jets is
trade
in
up.
there. Jets is in
I
there
think the
for
Jets will
sure.
be the team to trade up. Them or Las Vegas would be my pick for here.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it in there really quick too, because this all actually did come out today about Abdul Carter. You mentioned the stress, a tiny stress reaction in his foot. There was this whole thing: is he going to have to get surgery before the draft? What's going to happen? Is he going to be more injury prone? Is this a risk? Whatever. He's not getting surgery. This is something that is likely going to heal on its own, and he is going to be completely fine and ready for day one of the NFL season. So it was kind of a weird little thing that came up out of nowhere. I don't even know how that pops up, but obviously he's healthy enough. You got him projected to go number one overall. I'm at number two with the Cleveland Browns here now. And I don't know if we're doing this as what we would do or what we predict will actually happen. Maybe a mix of both.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is, I believe, out. He's not going to be able to play at least at the start of next season. And you don't have anybody.
Yeah, I think he's out all next year.
Unless you see a random pickup of a guy like Rodgers or Stafford, which I don't believe in the Stafford trade, by the way. I feel like it's like conspiracy. It's like, Bush
I
did
don't
9/11.
know.
I think it's more likely that Bush did 9/11 than Stafford gets traded.
I don't know what that man. Brady had him over. I think I think Stafford to Las Vegas seems kind of likely.
I would be It would be insane if for some reason they choose to get rid of him for a bag of chips. But anyway, the Browns have absolutely no option right now at quarterback. Regardless of what you think about the quarterback class, it's obviously a weaker one. I think everyone is expecting, Cam Ward stays in the orange colors, and that's what we're going to do today too. I think Cam Ward probably is the better quarterback. Maybe not in terms of accuracy, but in terms of explosive plays waiting to happen. He's the home run hitter, and I'm going to have the Browns taking him here at 2.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely you see them both battling it out with workouts and stuff. Very competitive to both of them.
Dude, those are
Um,
awesome, by the way. They're just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I know with Cam Ward, the concerns are accuracy right now. Me personally, I think I like him more than Sanders,
it's
but
so
we'll see.
marginal though. Like, I don't even know how. Like, it's not like, oh, Shador's obviously better than Cam or Cam's obviously better than Shador. I think
Mhm.
that Cam Ward obviously on a better team. He's got the better offensive line, so he's gonna look better. But
Sure.
just like watching him like break a sack and just throwing a 50-yarder like touchdown, like Shador hasn't really had that kind of an opportunity. So, Cam Ward was in the Heisman race. So I think most people are going to be slightly higher in him, and I got the Browns going there. But you got the G-men who are in a similar quarterback situation at 3 now.
Yeah. However, the pick here, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to agree with it or not, or I don't know if a lot of people agree with this one, but I don't think Giants go quarterback this draft either. I
Ooh.
don't think they're necessarily in love with Ward or with Sanders. If they take a quarterback, they probably look second round for one. So, with that being said, I mean, why not take probably the number one prospect, in the past couple of years, guy that wants to play both sides of the field, need help on both sides of the field. Why not get Travis Hunter?
I personally believe that Travis Hunter is the best player in the draft. I know that might be like a weird hot take. Some people, there's this weird narrative that like he's not that great of a corner. Um, I mean, I think regardless of what you think about his style of play, if you just boil down this entire draft class, he is arguably wide receiver one, and he's arguably wide receiver, or excuse me, he's arguably CB1, if not two. Same thing with wide receivers, at least one
Um,
or two on either side of the
I mean,
ball.
I like Johnson more than him as far as defensive wise.
I'm sitting here at number 4, and new head coach of the New England Patriots, uh, Vrabel, Mike Vrabel, new head coach of the New England Patriots, former New England player himself. He came out and he said two things after he was signed as the head coach. He said he needs to get weapons for Drake May, and he needs more guys in the trenches. So you obviously got, load of options there. Um, I feel like the Patriots pick is offensive lineman, but can you name 2 wide receivers on the Patriots right now?
Jalen Polk, Kendrick Bourne,
Okay,
Javon
but
Baker. Yeah, I mean,
Jalen Polk.
the casual
I
guy with
mean,
them. But Jalen Polk had drop issues last year and separation issues last year. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, they might cut him. Yeah, I
they
mean,
don't have a clear wide receiver one though. I don't
no.
want to. I don't want to compare them to the Packers because the Packers obviously have a better wide receiver core, but same token of there's not a guy.
Mhm.
Um, and I am personally very high on Arizona's Tedero McMillan.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's just the fun pick. I think you get Drake. Excuse me, geez, you get Drake May a weapon, and Tedero McMillan is getting comps to Mike Evans. Uh, not
Big
only
boy,
because
six
not
five.
only 6'5", 212 pounds. Not only is he getting comps because of his build, though, this man is coming off of back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons at
Yeah,
Arizona.
absolutely.
Mike Evans loves to do that. um, I love T Mac. Plus, his nickname is T Mac. It's just awesome. It's just awesome, man. He's insane. His highlights are ridiculous. If you've never seen Tedero McMillan's highlights at Arizona, go watch them.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's going to be the pick for the Pats. You get a fun weapon. And fun fact about Tedero McMillan, man played volleyball in high school. That's kind of awesome.
That is awesome.
It's kind of
Yeah,
awesome.
McMillan also, led the receivers with the lowest drop rate um,
Ooh,
in the Power Five. So,
dude, he's awesome.
Patriots basically came out today. They're not going to pursue T. Higgins. They're
Ooh, okay.
gonna. They said they're going to feel out the receiver market, which makes me kind of believe that with all the cap money that they do have, that's where they're going to spend their money is the guys in the trenches. They see themselves here with the fourth pick. Could easily get in my opinion, I think I would rather have McMillan over Hunter, receiver wise.
And that's a very fair argument, honestly.
So I mean, you're going to go out and get the best receiver in the draft, arguably best receiver in the draft.
True wide receiver. I think he's the best true wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, dude's huge, 6'5", 212, catches every ball thrown to him basically.
100%.
I think that's a smart pick for New England here, and then go spend your money in the trenches.
Yeah.
All right.
Factual.
Pick 5 here. We with Jacksonville. To me, this could also be another trade down candidate here.
Yeah.
Again, we're not doing that today. And where I'm going to lean here, fun fact here, is actually T-Mac's high school teammate here. We're going to go into the trenches like we were just talking about. We're going to get the best nose tackle in this draft. We're going to go get Mason Graham right out of Michigan. Plugs up a hole in that defensive line there. Some needs, you might say the need more for Jacksonville is on the other side of that line. But I mean, Mason Graham is one of those can't miss prospects. I think you take him here at 5 and, you have a guy on defense you can build around now.
Yeah, Mason Graham is pretty insane. I feel like he's one of those guys that I didn't really get the hype at first because the type of football that he plays to the average football watcher could be kind of boring as just like the big meatball on the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He had 22 tackles for loss last season. Like that's pretty solid. He just seems to find the ball carrier. For a defensive lineman, I can only imagine being able to have I don't want to say vision because it sounds like you're talking about like a running back, but like he can recognize plays when they happen. For being on the line like that, I think that's a great attribute to have. And here at the number 6 pick, you kind of made it. I don't want to say you made it easy for me with the fall of Shedeur here. But Raiders are another team where if they don't make a trade for a guy or pick up a guy like Aaron, or does Kirk Cousins float around somewhere with all that money over his head? I don't know how that works, but in this theoretical world where there's no trades, we don't know what's happened with quarterbacks. I think you just got to swing on Shedeur going to LA there, which you probably like if you're Shedeur and if you're a Raiders fan. I mean, you got Tom Brady in the building now. He's going to. Who knows if he's going to kind of sprinkle some Brady magic on Shedeur's head there, Sure. You got a solid offensive line in front of you, better than Colorado.
You have the second most cap space this year, too. So,
yeah.
You have a lot of money to go and, bring some guys in.
100%. Yeah.
Remember what I said a couple weeks ago about the Raiders? Don't sleep.
Don't sleep. See what happens with Shedeur. Because you got the Jets who you see trading up in.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I do think the Jets trade up here. But again, we're not doing that today. So sitting here, what do the Jets need? Do they need a quarterback? Probably. They have, unless you want to ride with Tyrod Taylor or Jordan Travis or Jordan, whatever his name is. So that's why ultimately they trade up and they do get a quarterback. Outside of quarterback, I mean, what do you look? Do you look at receiver? Because if Rodgers is going, you're more than likely cutting Adams. Are you trading Garrett Wilson? I don't know. So you can kind of go a lot of places here. However, I'm going to flip to the defensive side here. After firing, the fuck's his name?
Robert Saleh.
Yes. After firing Robert Saleh, their defense productivity seemed to have fell off a cliff. When I mentioned it before, he's my favorite corner in this draft. I think the Jets are going to go with Will Johnson here.
Will Johnson. I like Will Johnson. He's coming off an injury. For those that do not know, he had a little bit of an injury this past year, and he has played through injuries in the past, I believe. And the big concern right now is, has he lost speed? Because in some parts of the tape, apparently he doesn't look quite as twitchy as he looked in the past, or as you want a CB1 to look. So the major point for Will Johnson right now, and Will Johnson fans or teams that need a corner in the NFL draft is, what is Will Johnson's 40 going to be? What is his combine testing going to be? Does he still have the agility that he once had? Does he still have the twitch? Does he still have the burst that you want out of a CB1? If you can get a 2023 version of Will Johnson alongside Sauce Gardner, that's probably one of the best cornerback duos in the league.
Jets are more than likely going to lose DJ Reed in free agency this year. Hopefully it comes to Green Bay. But yeah, I mean, he only played 6 games last year, but he was still a Jim Thorpe Award semifinalist. So, I mean, if he stays healthy, you're getting a star at corner here. All right, Jack, our lovely Panthers.
Our lovely Panthers, you let me have the pick. You let me have the pick. And Bryce Young coming off probably his best showing since he's been drafted in the league in the last couple of weeks of the season in 2024. And you got Xavier Legette. You have a old man nursing home version of Adam Thielen. And Jalen Coker looks like he's going to potentially, possibly be somebody. He's shown flashes.
I love me some Jalen Coker.
I like some Jalen Coker, boy. Chuba Hubbard. He gave him an extension. How good he played last season. Everything just seems to be falling into place. And I think you have that offense that's slowly moving in the right direction. You don't want to lose any more pieces as you are in aging Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette, as good as he seems to be, had some injuries last season. They don't really have the greatest tight end.
Ooh.
And I am a firm believer that Tyler Warren is not going to be around by pick 15 at the latest. I think that if someone doesn't trade up for him, he's going to be taken. You get not only a little bit more help on your offensive line for Carolina, but you get another weapon for Bryce Young to check it down to and scheme around. I mean, I don't know how you don't like it if you're a Panthers fan.
Is that where we're locked in?
Tyler Warren, man. Oh, 1,000%. I know DB is definitely a conversation. There might be some, people thinking about that, and there definitely is, but I think it's just hard to pass up a player like Tyler Warren, where you could find a solid DB to complement a JC Horn down the board. You're not going to find a tight end one of Tyler Warren's caliber in the 3rd round. You're just not going to do it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they just drafted Sanders last year, but I mean, is Sanders going to be that guy at tight end? We don't know. Yeah, Tyler Warren's probably, one of the better tight end prospects of past years, outside of Bowers. And but yeah, man, it's definitely not it's a good pick there.
I just like it. I like Tyler.
All right. Boy, Saints, what do they need? Everything.
Everything.
So
you know about the Saints.
I think they came out, new head coach Kellen Moore. I think they did come out and say that Carr will be their quarterback for next year. So I don't think they're going to go quarterback. Even if they did, I don't think they would pick one here anyway. Do they, lost Marshawn Lattimore last year? Could they use another corner? Possibly. But Paulson Adebo and, you get Kool-Aid McKinstry year 2. So I don't think they go corner. Do they let Chase Young go, and do they need a defensive end? Maybe they do that. I think they're going to grab another weapon on offense. Only because the defense will be serviceable, and they're not going to be a team that's competing this year. But if you're going to ride with Derek Carr one more year, why not give him some help? And you have Chris Olave. He's got some issues staying healthy and everything. So why not go get some Luther Bird in the 3rd? Throw him on the other side of the field of Chris Olave. If Carr's your guy, give him some help here.
It's funny. Luther Burden's draft stock, for whatever reason, guys like Daniel Jeremiah, if you're familiar with, massive draft analyst, big draft guy, wasn't even projected as of recently in his top 32 in his first round of his multiple mock drafts that he's done. And I don't know if it's a character thing. I know last year was a little bit of a down year because, he's at Missouri and the quarterback play was apparently trash. But he's got the best rack ability out of any wide receiver, maybe other than Travis Hunter in the draft, and probably even better than Travis Hunter. Just the way that he could change direction and make guys miss going down the field could, again, the same reason why I took Tyler Warren, help out Bryce Young, develop. If you don't pick up a veteran and you're the Saints and you still want to keep rolling the dice on Spencer Rattler, Luther Burden's going to help out Spencer a little bit. You could scheme around Luther Burden a little bit more. I don't want to compare him to Deebo Samuel because they're different wide receivers, but the way that you can scheme Deebo around a limited quarterback, and like a Brock Purdy, maybe you could get that out of Luther Burden. So I like that pick.
Burden very similar. I mean, I think he had, ran 9 times for 115 yards and 2 scores last year.
Yeah,
which isn't crazy, but still 9 carries for
2
scores. I mean,
pretty damn good.
So, not necessarily the biggest sample size there, but the efficiency in that small sample size, is absolutely off the charts. I mean, I think they could just use another weapon on offense, and I think Luther Burden, kind of just fits right in.
100%. I got the Bears. Is this why you gave me the evens, because you didn't want to have to pick for the Bears?
No, only because I kind of have I have a not controversial pick here, but I have the Bears taking someone I don't think a lot of people have them taken. So,
okay. I mean, it is fun. Gene T is definitely not out of the conversation. I'm not taking Gene T here, but to say he's not an option for the Bears sitting at 10 is insane. I don't even know who their RB1 is right now. I don't think they have Swift. I don't know if they have Swift under contract.
Swift. Yeah, I think he's still there.
He might be there for another year, but I mean, I don't think it's out of the conversation, but I'm not going to take him here. We haven't taken a single offensive tackle. And the Bears right now, I mean, from the flashes that you had of Caleb Williams last year, there was just so much left on the plate when you slow down some of the tape and you just see his pocket collapse. Like his offensive linemen are just like running for their lives, it seems. And you need someone on the offensive line here, or unless you trade down, like you need offense. You need to take the offensive line here. There's no other option. Obviously, you see team needs there. You see guard, and while he's not a guard, Will Campbell is probably going to play guard in the NFL.
Yeah, I say Will Campbell. I mean, they're saying he's good enough to play anywhere on the offensive line. So,
yeah, I've heard some people say that he could play, that there's a conversation about him even playing center, which I think is crazy, and that would be badass.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, he's definitely a guy who can move into the guard position. Absolutely.
I think that you think of someone kind of like a Peter Skoronski, that the Titans drafted a couple years ago, where he was a tackle, and they stuck him out at tackle, and it kind of just was a little hit and miss. Wasn't really working. They put him in at guard, and he's been playing pretty damn well. I think Will Campbell could play tackle, but it's just likely that he's going to move into guard based on what I've heard. You're the Bears. You get a plug-and-play guy in Will Campbell, and you just don't ask any questions at number 10.
All right. Yeah, I like the pick. I think they'll move him wherever they need to. All right. Niners here at 11. We see the needs guard, tackle, defensive line, which, yeah, I would probably agree. I mean, do you go defensive line, give Nick Bosa some help? Do you go offensive line because of your aging Trent Richardson? I lean more offensive line wise.
So you weren't gonna snipe the Cowboys and take GT here when you have CMC already?
No, we're not gonna do that. We are gonna go offensive line, and
You got some options. You
Kind of
got
stuck with, I'm kind of. It's like, do I go Simons?
Simmons.
3'6", 6'5", 310.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Allowed just one
I'll tell
pressure,
you who I'd
0
take
sacks.
after you take your pick. I'll tell you who I'd take.
Two pressures. It's hard to go against a guy, Josh Simmons, last year. Is coming off a torn ACL, which is the concern. However, he did just allow one pressure and 0 sacks on 158 pass block ups. Or you have Kelvin Banks, who I like too. He used your
also coming off a little bit of an injury.
Yeah, a little healthier. I don't think the productivity is that much off. I'm going to go Kelvin Banks out of Texas here.
Let's go.
I think he's just a guy who, plug in a tackle, let him learn under Trent Williams.
That's
plug
exactly
him right next
right.
to Trent Williams. I mean, he's, even him, I just say with Josh Simons, only one pressure, but Kelvin Banks, 12 pressures across 550 pass block snaps. So, I mean, he's a guy who, if you are going to play, pay Brock Purdy, he's a guy that you're comfortable, putting out there and blocking for him.
Texas left tackle Kelvin Banks hasn't given up a pressure, sack, or blown run block all season, and he has one penalty. I mean, that's kind of insane. I personally think that he is the best true tackle. I say that meaning like Will Campbell, yeah, he could play tackle, he could play guard. Kelvin Banks Jr., there's not a question he is a tackle.
Yeah,
I believe
he's probably one of the more experienced tackles in the draft too. He's started, every game as a freshman, every game as a sophomore, every game as a junior up until getting hurt. So the experience is there, and
yeah, no, I like Kelvin Banks. He's my favorite true tackle in the draft. I don't know why he seems to be falling for some people. I mean, I like Simmons too, but he seems to be falling. I think this is the injury concern, but there's so many guys with injury concerns in this draft.
Yeah.
Number 12 here. I feel like the even picks are the easy ones. Genie's there. It's just it's going to be curious to see if Gene is there at 12, which I don't even think that he will be. He could. But barring quarterback veterans being plugged in on teams like the Jets or Raiders, I think you could see the Raiders take Gene pretty high. Maybe even the Bears, as we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be curious to see if the Cowboys are here at 12 and Gene's still there when the real life draft finally comes. Are they going to take the layup and just put the card in, or are they going to get cute and try and wait or just look down the board at running backs later? Because it is a very deep running back class.
It is. But even if you're looking at, if you're Dallas here, I mean, Dallas, I think, could also be another trade back guy, a team to trade back for. Because if JT's your guy, I mean, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams probably aren't going to take a running back.
Yeah.
Unless, like you said, some of these teams get cute or whatnot. But I think Dallas is another team that we could definitely see trading back here.
I'm gonna hope that, well, not hope. As an Eagles fan, I hope that they take Kyle Rourke from
all I gotta say is
Indiana.
Everyone at JT is like the chalk and pick here, but Zach Martin did just announce his retirement. They got some holes on that offensive line now.
True. I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna do it. I think that they could find a serviceable guard to take the place of Zach, and I think they take Ashton Jeanty here. I think they'd be stupid not to. I think that Cowboys fans would have to travel down to Dallas and shoot Jerry Jones in the head if they don't take Jeanty there, because what else are you gonna do? He's the most hyped up running back prospect probably since. He might have more hype than Bijan.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of the more hyped
Ashton
running
Jeanty.
backs in recent years.
Ashton Jeanty has broken more tackles as a running back than any college football running back in the past decade. In the past 10 years, Ashton Jeanty's broken the most tackles by running back. That's crazy. It's crazy. You just take it. You just take it if you're Dallas. Just take it. Just stop overthinking it. Just take it. Anyway, I hope that they I really personally hope that the Cowboys just go ahead and take Kyle McCord from Syracuse at that pick, the quarterback. Just take Kyle McCord there. Just make it easy for the Eagles.
Just trade back and
then trade back again, and just wait until the 7th round to take 7 picks.
All right.
Okay.
13 with the Dolphins. When I was looking at drafts and doing a couple mock drafts for fun, I kept going with them taking Malachi Starks on defense.
Ooh, Malachi 13, it's fun.
You think we might, Bullard probably not coming back. You got an aging Ramsey. However, I don't think they do go defensive back. I think they're going to go offensive lineman, and I think you go with the best interior offensive lineman. Another guy that could go outside to tackle. But I think, Mike McDaniels is going to get this offense back on track after a down year from last year, get to some protection so he doesn't get hurt again. I'm going to have him take Tyler Booker out of Alabama.
He's 20 years old. He's a young offensive lineman, very, very young offensive lineman. 352 pounds, 6'5".
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best true interior offensive lineman this draft. Only allowed 10 pressures last year, no sacks.
And you really,
you have A-Chain back there. You got two of you that you want to keep healthy. Hopefully you can keep Hill, in town.
No, if you're Tua, you're praying. You're praying
when Tua's healthy. That Dolphins offense is,
good,
very good. So I think in order to keep that offense good, you got to keep Tua healthy, and I think getting a guy like Tyler Booker on your offensive line
put 350 pounds in front of Tua. And maybe a guarding cap on his head. Let's help a brother out. You know what I'm saying? Help a brother out. I think that pick makes a lot of sense. It doesn't really feel like a Dolphins pick. It's not like this super like a fast guy or something.
It doesn't. But I think I don't know. It just to me,
you need it. You just gotta not overthink it at 13.
Yeah, it's some picks you just can't overthink. Like I said, you could use a secondary player, but your defense wasn't the problem last year. Your problem last year was that your quarterback couldn't stay healthy, and then your offense was stagnant all year. So get a guy that could help your quarterback stay healthy, and you'll be a better team.
100%. I got the Colts here. And they do need some help at DB. I think they're probably upset that Tyler Warren's gone off the board. Everyone and their mother has mock drafted Tyler Warren to the Colts because it does make a lot of sense.
Sure.
Edge is still in play. And do I want to shake it up? I'm gonna keep it PG for right now, and we're gonna get funky, and we're gonna draft Malachi Starks here at 14. It's not
I don't hate it.
It's not the sexy pick, but you need help at DB. I think that you could argue getting AR another weapon, but I mean, you drafted Adonai Mitchell last year. He's still developing. You still got Michael Pittman.
Josh Downs,
Josh Downs only getting better. Yeah. So I think you got to help out your defense.
Offensive line solid. No, I like the pick there. I like Starks.
I was really thinking edge, but I'm gonna let this player fall and see if you don't take him, I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take him down the board. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's see. You're Atlanta. Do you get Penix another weapon? You can make the argument there. Or do you pray for Kyle Pitts finally to break out this year? I don't know if you're really open for that. But I think you have more glaring needs on the defensive side of things.
Yes.
My biggest need for them was probably a pass rusher. They were
Yes.
31st, I think they were last year, in QB pressures. However, this is another team I could oddly see trading back because the edge rushing, there's so many guys. It's such a deep draft for edge rushers. So, I mean, at this point, you kind of just take your pick.
Yeah, I think edge
There's
is
a couple guys I really like. However, it's such. Let me see.
I wonder if you're going to take the guy.
We just got news today that James Pierce ran a 4.5. So, that's.
Wait till you hear. There's another guy that tested insane today.
However, I'm going to go. Guy who's been kind of coming up draft boards a lot, Mike Green.
Okay.
Probably not the most polished prospect yet, but a guy I like. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it in the Peach State of Georgia. I think we're going to go Michael Williams here. 5 sacks last year. I think he's a very good player. I think he, potential to be one of the top edge rushers in the league. Yeah. I think we can see. I can see when we're talking, next year. I could see Michael Williams being like the Jared Versa last year, like a dude that's going to draw a lot of double teams, a lot of attention from the offensive line of the other team. Like I said, I think edge rushing, biggest need for the Falcons, and Michael Williams is a guy I like here. Keep it in the state of Georgia, why not?
Yeah, I feel like Georgia, especially this past season, kind of known more so for its defensive side of the ball. I mean, that defense just does all the talking. They've been spitting out great defensive players over the past how many years now? I mean, the Eagles' whole defense is almost Georgia Bulldogs, and almost all of them are all pros. So, I mean, you don't overthink it. I like Michael Williams. I haven't been able to stick my nose into him. No diddy, as much as I wanted to yet. But, yeah, he
played 12 games, had 5 starts, 21 tackles, 8.5 of those going for a loss, 5 sacks, even 2 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, a guy that's just going to, run all over the field and, give you that QB pressure that you've been lacking the past couple of years in Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't think you could miss taking any player off the edge for the Falcons. They needed one for really the past couple seasons now. So I like the pick there. Take a pass rusher. The Arizona mids, we should call them now. You made a great point last season when we were talking about the Cardinals that they're such a hard team to project how good they're going to do because they'll win a game 1 week, and the next week they'll lose. The week after that, they'll win. The week after that, they'll lose. Like, it's just
they're so boring and mediocre. Like, there's something about them. Like, I can't, like, they're so unexciting to me.
Yeah.
Like, even with, like, Kyler Murray and, Marvin Harrison Jr., it's like, it's just it's such a boring team.
No, I agree. Definitely a weird team.
That's what I mean.
Okay, like, Paris Johnson.
Players go to Arizona, you don't even remember them.
Yeah. And you got the defensive line. This has got to be somewhere in the trenches. As PFF says as well. I'm just noticing that guard, tackle, D-line. That is the biggest need for them. I do really like Kenneth Grant from Michigan. Let me just check out some offensive linemen that are still sitting here on the board, though. Did you take Josh Simmons yet?
No, he's still sitting there.
This is going to be the spot. Take Josh Simmons, and he pairs up with his old teammate. Paris Johnson was Ohio State Buckeye. So I like that fit there. I like that fit. You pair up with the old Buckeyes. You say, and Marvin Harrison Jr., Buckeye. Maybe Eagles turn into the Georgia Bulldogs. Maybe the Cardinals are trying to become a bunch of Buckeyes there. And you got to, you got to patch up that O-line. I mean, you you do a quick Google search on their depth chart right now. I can't even put a face to some of these names on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. So I think you take Josh Simmons there and just hope that he can stay healthy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bengals here. Bengals be an interesting team to watch this offseason. Do they bring back T. Higgins? Do they not? Do they bring back Trey Hendrickson? Do they not? Do they pay Jamar Chase? I don't know. We'll find out. The pick here, they're arguably best defender from last year. Jermaine Pratt did request a trade. So, a lot of people may go receiver here because you lose T. Higgins. However, I think the more glaring need is defense.
1,000%.
And I think you take one of the best all-around defenders in this draft, with Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Bama. 117 tackles.
117 sacks would be out.
Been crazy. 117 tackles last year, 11.5 going for loss. You add 5 sacks to that. He just has a nose for the ball. He'll be all over. that's, he's the best, maybe all-around defensive player in this draft.
He's the best around. It's like Karate Kid on here with Jahad Campbell, man.
Yeah, he's the guy, you're just going to build your defense around him. It's the biggest need. Go get a guy that, captain of that defense. Because, as much as you want to say you need a receiver, you don't for the Bengals.
You need defense, man.
Go get a guy that's going to motivate, amp up that defense. And I think Jahad Campbell's your guy here.
As long as you have Jamar and Burrow, you're going to be fine on offense. That defense was atrocious last year. There's really no excuse for it. And Jahad Campbell, not only can he pass rush off the edge with crazy speed for a linebacker, he has played edge and off the ball linebacker, which I love. And more so than just being a pass rusher as a linebacker, he's not afraid to drop back in coverage. And there's nothing that gets my rocks off more than a linebacker that could cover. You want to talk about like the player you want in Madden that you want to use around the field? It's got to be Jahad Campbell, dude. He's freaking awesome.
Overall defender, he might be your best one in this draft. And if you're the Bengals, defense is your biggest need. So get a guy who can give you a little bit of everything.
Oh, if I had to make a top 5 just favorite players overall, like my personal favorite, Jahad's easily top 5 for me.
Yeah.
He's freaking awesome, dude. I wonder, was there any part of you that paused about Jahdae Barron? I don't think that's a bad
yeah, I like Jahdae Barron a lot. He's one of my favorite guys in the draft too. I just think if I'm the Bengals, I think Campbell's a guy I would rather build my defense around.
For sure.
So, like you said, you said he's your top 5 favorite guy. He's probably one of my top 5 favorite guys too. So he might be my number 1 overall defensive player in this whole draft. So,
wow. All right. Big words from Cody McGoats.
Big words.
I don't disagree though. I don't know if I
consider me a very, very, very amateur scout, but as the armchair quarterback, armchair GM I really like Jahad Campbell.
We're professionals, Cody. We know what we're doing. We say what we mean. We mean what we say. All right. We'll see. We'll see if the Jahdae Barron fall continues. As I'm at 18 here, the Seattle Seahawks, who, while they need interior offensive line like a bitch, their GM has come out multiple times and said that they do not value guard high enough to take it in the first round, and they really historically haven't. Obviously, Charles Cross went a couple years.
To be fair, though, like this draft, it's really heavy on outside offensive linemen, not really too much on the inside. You have a couple of guys, but if they were really going to target interior offensive linemen, this is another team. We've been saying it this whole show. This is another team that could trade back here.
Yes, and the player that I was going to take at for the Colts that needed edge, Seattle. I think I'm going to listen to their GM here and say that they're going to punt on interior offensive linemen figure it out in free agency or figure it out down the board. And this might be seen as a reach, but I'm going to take Shamar Stewart here on the edge for the Seattle Seahawks.
At all. Shamar Stewart, very good.
He not only, well, he's very good. If you look at his stats, he is not the most standout player in terms of an on paper edge rusher. He is more so kind of that recognize the play and make the tackle type of a player. However, today was the NFL first day of the NFL Combine, Mr. Cody McGoats.
Yes,
and
sir.
The big men were running. And Shamar Stewart was one of those big men. And Shamar Stewart is in the 96th percentile, which the 100% is the best of all time by that measurement.
Sure.
96th percentile in the long jump, 96th percentile in the broad jump, I should have said. 96th percentile in the broad jump, 96th percentile in Jesus Christ, here. What am I saying? He was 96th percentile or more. Okay, so somewhere like 97, somewhere 98. 96th percentile or more in the broad jump, 96th percentile or more in the vertical jump, 96th percentile or more in wingspan. This is just a massive freak athlete that, although he doesn't have the sexy sack numbers that you want, if you can trust your defensive lineman coach, your edge coach, to just mold someone, Shamar Stewart is the ultimate mold that a piece of clay that you want, in my opinion, out of all the edge rushers in terms of athletic ability.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The stats don't jump off the sheet, but he's a guy that, as far as potential and upside goes, I mean, he's right there with the rest of them in this draft.
I also, just because, and I know the combine's not everything, but based off what has happened today, I say it like someone got shot or something.
Oh, he's a freak athlete, yeah.
But I don't think that he falls. I don't know if he falls past. I'm looking at some of these teams right now. He definitely doesn't fall past 25.
But I mean, a lot of these edges, like most of these edge rushers we've picked up to this point, I mean, they're interchangeable. I mean, they're all phenomenal players.
Yeah, but they're different too in their own right. Their play styles, like we said, Shamar Stewart's not. If you want a stereotypical, prototypical pass rusher, then Shamar Stewart's not really your guy. Maybe you look at someone as like you want a speed rusher, you go James Pierce. Mike Green has obviously come up the board. His draft stock has risen pretty high. Maybe take someone like him, but I think that Shamar is just fun. I think that he has the potential to be athletically the best pass rusher in the draft. If not pass rusher, just edge in general. A guy that's going to make plays under defense. That's my spiel on Shamar.
All right. All right. And the question
at 19, you got the Buccaneers.
Today, Barons, is the fall over? It's not. I'm not going secondary here for the Buccaneers. The need is definitely defense. Pass rush being one. So why don't we, not going to grab a true pass rusher, but we are going to go down a little bit. We're going to go grab another Georgia defender. We're going to go Jalen Walker.
Okay.
Another linebacker who, plays very good on the ball and off the ball. Another guy who I could see, leading defense, could really, has that pass rush, talent in him. A guy who I have just a notch below Jade Campbell in the linebacker spots of this draft. And I think a guy who will fit nicely into Tampa Bay's defense there.
100%.
So the Jade Barron fall will continue.
Yeah, the Jade Barron fall will continue.
You kind of have a fun little pick here at Denver.
I have a fun one. I'm looking at a couple different places here. Obviously, Emeka Egbuka stands out a little bit. Um, a lot of people have Colston Loveland going here.
Mhm.
They do need help at tight end. I think that's as boring as a pick as it is, similar to the Cowboys. It's kind of one of those where it's like, why not? You just do it. Don't think about it. You need the tight end. Colston Loveland's right there,
Just do it.
and you just do it. You just freaking do it, man. Ibuka looks awesome,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you know this about Ohio State, but they produce some pretty phenomenal wide receivers. I don't know if you could think of a couple, but I think it's probably easier to think of wide receivers that didn't come from Ohio State. Uh, I'm gonna go off the books here. We're gonna take a Mecca. We're gonna do it.
Well,
Colston
why
Loveland's
not?
gonna fall.
I mean,
I think
it's definitely a need for sure. I
I
mean, you look at that wide receiver group outside of Cortland Sutton. I mean, you said it before, name, two receivers on the Patriots. Name two receivers that aren't Cortland Sutton on the Broncos.
Troy Franklin is one of them.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you and your boy Troy Franklin.
My boy Troy.
All
I
right.
think you got to just look at the as good as Cortland Sutton is, he's only getting older, and you help out Bo a little bit more. I think
Yeah. I mean, you just got you got your
Colston
what
could
looks
help
to
as
be
well, but
yeah, sure. I mean,
the drop off for wide
I have
receivers
a
though.
I'll drop it now since we're talking about the Broncos now. And I'm willing to put some money down on this. Jack will bet you $5. But you know who's going to be in a Bronco jersey next year? Taysom Hill. Sean Payton's going to get his fucking Swiss
Wow.
Army knife next year. Taysom Hill will
Yeah,
be a Bronco next year.
you think he's coming back, huh?
Oh, he's absolutely. They're going to cut him coming off injury. Saints are going to cut him, save about 10 million in cap space. Sean Payton is going to see him, sign him on a vet minimum.
And then you don't have to worry about drafting quarterback there. You
There
take a
you go.
Mecca.
Yeah, you don't need it. Exactly. You're good.
Yep, you're
I
good.
kind of hate here though that I have Pittsburgh. Um,
Why? Why do you hate it?
just because one, I don't like the Steelers. But two,
Oh, why not?
they're such a
Nothing wrong with the Steelers.
they're just such a weird team to go for, like root here. Pick for like I don't know. What do? Do you go? There needs a receiver, but there's talks of them trading their best receiver. There's need a quarterback. However, I mean you had two starting caliber quarterbacks on your team last year. What do you do? Pittsburgh, to me, is a team that doesn't like to make the boring pick. They like to make the exciting pick. This one here, we talked about reach before, but I see it as being a very Pittsburgh Steeler pick here. A quarterback that has kind of climbed up a lot of draft boards here. We're going to scroll down a little bit here.
Whoa.
We're going to go Mr.
Whoa.
Jackson Dart out of Mississippi here, 21 to Pittsburgh.
Jackson Dart at 21.
Like I said, Pittsburgh doesn't like to, I mean, hey, we're talking about a team that drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round a few years ago.
Very true.
Like
true.
I said,
I was going to bring that up.
They don't like to make the boring pick. They like to make the pick that's, the exciting, fun pick, which Jackson Dart fits the mold here. It fills a need if you really don't plan on bringing back Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I mean, even if you do, whatever. It's all signs to me right now, February 27th, 2025, doing the draft. I mean, I think the Steelers make the Steeler pick here and they go Jackson Dart.
I would personally be surprised if Pittsburgh went Jackson Dart or quarterback really at all. I feel like
I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised if they took a quarterback here. Obviously, I wouldn't have them taking a quarterback, but
right. Yeah, that's your pick. That's your pick. I like Jackson Dart. I will say I'm a big Jackson Dart fan.
I mean, you have some NFL GMs coming out saying that they like him better than Sanders. A lot of NFL GMs have him number 2 quarterback prospect. So
he definitely has.
He's climbing draft boards, and it's to me, it just seems like it's such a Pittsburgh Steeler pick here.
I feel like it's the opposite of a Pittsburgh. I feel like Pittsburgh would have to be like, I've seen DB there, like, because the opposite of what a Steelers would do is take someone like a wide receiver, which they actually probably should take, and instead they just go and draft someone like Jahdae Barron or Mike Green or Jesus Christ, Kenneth Grant. I know that it's not an edge player, but You just think of Pittsburgh Steelers, like that's who I imagine. I I love Jackson Dart. I would be dumbfounded if Pittsburgh took him at 21. Maybe they trade down and take him, but 21 just seems bit high. But I get where you're coming from. Get where you're coming
This
from.
is this is this is the pick that's going to get us clicks onto our episode here.
Yeah, Jackson Dart to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What?
That's wild.
We had to spice it up a little bit here. We had to make it exciting.
I'd be curious to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers fans in the comments think
I
down
haven't
below.
haven't really had an exciting pick up to this point, so I had a, you know,
Fair. Yeah, well, we had back to
yeah,
back,
still a
kind of.
little bit.
I go a Mecca Broncos off the books, and you go off
Yeah,
the books with Pittsburgh. So,
I'm just saying, if we're sitting here, come April, and Pittsburgh drafts, no, not necessarily Dart, but any quarterback here, like I said, I'm not surprised.
yeah, I would be surprised. But that's the mock draft.
And that's what they're here for.
That's what we're here for. That's why we're going back to back. We had 2 fun picks back to back with the Broncos and Pittsburgh with Emeka and Jackson. And now I don't even have to say anything for this one. Harbaugh gets a Michigan man, and he just take Colson Level, and he fell right in your lap. I mean, I got a hole at tight end right now. He only makes the offense better, and Harbaugh gets to just.
He's a Harbaugh guy.
Yeah, he's a Harbaugh guy. He's giving high fives in the locker room,
He's a Harbaugh guy. Feels the need too. I mean, gives Herbert a nice big target to throw to. Great great blocker in the run game too. I mean, he's a Harbaugh guy. It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know why. I also kind of just.
This might be the most surefire pick. If Loveland is here at 22, it's probably the most surefire pick. It just makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Pittsburgh or sorry, I thought you were talking about Green Bay because there's also a surefire pick here.
No. Well,
unless you go off.
No. I hinted at last pick or a couple picks ago. The fall drops here. Green Bay had a formal interview with them today. We just got the news too that they're exploring trade talks for Jair Alexander. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you need an edge rusher." Listen, we're going to need a cornerback, especially trade Jair Alexander. Go get the best one that's left out there right now. Shade Barron. I mean, stud.
Absolute stud. I have a little bit of what a Packers fan might think is a slightly hot take, though. For when we do our own individual mock drafts, as much as I like Jade Barron, Thorpe Award winner, hook 'em for the Texas fans out there. He's really not doesn't seem to be an actual outside cornerback.
They might put him in at safety.
He's a safety. He seems to be more of a. Now Cooper DeJean has actually played pretty well at CB2, but he seems to be DeJean-esque as that nickel or deep safety where you're not necessarily going to stick him on an island up against a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase and just be like, all right, go ahead, Jade, cover him. Mm-hmm. Whereas there is a corner, I believe, may better suit a Packers team that is losing Jair Alexander. Maybe his name's Savone Ravel. Maybe it's not. But we'll save that conversation for another day.
I mean, I like, another guy I like a lot too is Zary Thomas from Florida State. He's another guy I like here.
Okay.
There's, like I said, like I was talking to my a couple of buddies the other day, like defensively, like you're getting first round talent in the second round this year. Like on the defensive side of the ball this year, like it's such a deep class.
I love Nick Eamon-Worry too. I know.
Yeah, I like him. I like Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. Like there's so many guys that I like on the defensive side. And there's a bunch still here, like James Pierce, like phenomenal talent. Mike Green, phenomenal talent. There's a bunch of guys that you're going to get first round talent in the second round.
Yeah, and I mean, a DB of any kind is going to help the Packers defense, and you go ahead and you take, by college football standards, the best cornerback in college football by the Thorpe Awards standing. So I like Jada Barron. I get where you're coming from there.
Like I said, Green Bay had a formal interview with him today. I think Green Bay, as the organization, likes him as much as we do. So
Word. I get the Vikings at number 24. Picked 24 here. Whew. There are players here that it doesn't feel like they should be here. It's so weird to see Mike Green still here. James Pierce Jr., his draft stock has fallen. Apparently, there's character concerns with him. You know, how far does that go? What does that mean? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at interior defensive line here, and funny enough, Aaron Jones is getting old. People, who is the quarterback going to be next year? Do you keep Sam? There's this whole conversation about whatever. I am of the belief that JJ McCarthy is going to be the starter next year. If not by week 5, they're going to put him in. And I say we go and get him. We get him an option on offense to lighten the load off of a first year, technically, quarterback. And I'm going to go with Omari and Hampton here. I really like Cam Scatterbo, Caleb Johnson, but in terms of an RB1, if G&T wasn't in this class, Omarion would be the clear number 1. Like the drop off, in my opinion, from Ashton G&T and Omarion is much different than the drop down from Omarion to Scatterbo or Johnson, where it's like it's a little bit more of a drop off. Omarion runs through tackles like he rubbed his legs with butter before he went out on the field. People just slip off him. And he has this like cut and go ability where his highlights are honestly boring to watch sometimes, because half of his highlights are him just hitting the hole, making one move or breaking one tackle, and then it's just a straight shot to the end zone. Like he just burns out everybody. It's another guy I'd be really curious to see what he ends up running in the 40. Although I do think he just wears his pads different. Like he's just fast. He's just one of those fast players, regardless how he tests. Wild acceleration. I like the idea of, maybe Aaron Jones gets hurt next year. He's getting old, whatever. Who knows? You bring in Omari in, you lighten the load.
I don't even think he's under contract, Aaron Jones. He might be a free agent. I could be wrong. But
you might be right.
But no, I think
even more to the case
there. Yeah, if JJ McCarthy's gonna be your guy, why not give, like we preach all the time, give your young guys some weapons to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe look defensive side of the ball here, but I think your defense is good enough. Go grab some guys in the later round. Like I said, you're getting first round talent in the second round this year. No, I like the pick there. I like that too. Pivot in the 25 here with the Texans. I think their biggest need for me personally is offensive line. I don't know the exact number. I forget offhand, but CJ Stroud was pressured like a crazy amount on his percent of snap dropbacks this year. So I am actually going to go grab another interior. Do I have them? I don't know if they'd have them interior or tackle here.
Maybe a tackle if you're looking for. Well, I think you might be.
Yeah. So again, could be a little bit of a stretch here, but a guy like here played both tackle and guard in college.
The Buckeyes are unite again.
I'm going to say Donovan Jackson here.
I love it. Dude, Donovan Jackson, he stepped in for when Simmons went out with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just slapped a Simmons last name on Donovan Jackson's jersey, and you would have thought it was the same player with how well he played throughout the playoffs, throughout the championship game. Donovan Jackson was the guy. And like you mentioned, not only can he play guard, he can play tackle. And I think that he could probably play tackle in the NFL based on how he played in this past college football season. I mean, that is definitely one of the sleeper. I mean, he's not a sleeper. He's projected to go probably in the first round, as we almost have him here. I don't want to call him a sleeper, but like he's one of those guys where like don't forget about him. Don't forget about Donovan Jackson.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you said, played both guard and tackle. I think NFL can also play both guard and tackle. Houston's offensive line has a lot of holes, so just put him in whatever hole you want him to fill. And
pause.
Don't fix that. Wait, hold on.
Donovan Jackson out here. He's looking like
Donovan Jackson's filling holes here. All right, rewind that. Put him on any position on the offensive line, and you'll be okay.
Duh. No, I don't know why that. Just from like where you took him, the fall, everything, that might be one of my favorite picks in the draft so far. I just like the fit.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think it just makes a lot of sense there. We have
100%.
another interesting one here, Jack. I mean, it's all speculation here, but Stafford out of town. What are they going to do? Is Cup out of town? I don't know. That's for you to speculate here, and you're on the clock here, 26.
Well, I am personally of the belief, as I mentioned earlier, that Stafford is not going to go anywhere. Unless Stafford's the one who's saying he wants to leave, which I don't think would make any sense at all, because if you're Stafford, unless you're just chasing a bag, which if that's the case, more power to you.
I mean, he did say he wants $50 million a year.
Okay, and that is a lot.
Which I don't know who's going to give him that.
Okay, but let's say the Rams are going to offer him $47 million, but maybe the Raiders are interested and they're going to give him 50 flat. If you're Stafford, you were literally just up against the Eagles, deep in the playoffs, right before the conference championship, to go to another freaking Super Bowl when you were just there within the last 4 years. What team are you going to go to? Unless you're just chasing a bag, which go ahead, do whatever you want if that's the case. But if you want to actually like make one last run or be on a good team, whatever, what team are you going to go to that's interested in you, that needs a quarterback, that's going to have a better chance at going to a Super Bowl than the Rams right now?
That's a great question. I mean, we said it before. The Rams have a great young defense.
Great young defense.
You might trade
Nakua is still there.
You have Kyron Williams.
He's a touchdown machine.
Other than going to get more money, it makes really no sense to leave.
That's what I'm saying. I don't personally get it.
Unless like the Chiefs are going to trade you Patrick Mahomes and you go to the Chiefs or something, but obviously that's never going to happen. No. But yeah, I don't get it either. It must be a money thing because out of all the teams, you look at the teams that are interested, it's the Raiders, Steelers, and I forget
the Jets, maybe. Like I don't know,
Jets, maybe, but still,
New York's interested.
Yeah, the Giants. Like out of those, the Rams and those three teams, the Rams is your best fit if winning is the true.
Yeah, if it's the end all be all, if it's the end all be all, stay put. You just were on a run. You went to the Super Bowl not long ago. You lost Aaron Donald and thought, okay, well maybe this isn't going to go so well. Maybe this is the end. You draft Jared Verse, he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, defense.
Yeah,
even when you
have good young defensive players there.
Good young defense.
Not to mention the guys you have on offense.
Yes. The only holes that you may have is if Cooper Kupp leaves, and some holes at cornerback, in my opinion. I think that the cornerbacks have been victim, or I guess blessed, I should say. Cornerbacks have been blessed with a phenomenal pass rush and defensive line at the Rams that they haven't really had to do that. They really haven't had to play that well with that D-line carrying them. But when the light gets shown on guys like, Kobe Durant, it don't look too good. You kind of want it to be looking more like a nightclub in there, dim the lights and they look a little bit prettier, a little rail yard action. Rest in peace. Shout out rail yard. Nobody cares about rail yard.
It's closing.
Yeah, it's closing. Get the hell out of here, rail yard. Anyway, turn the lights off on Kobe Durant. Let's get Savone Ravel off the freaking board. Plug him in. Plug this man in. He's probably my favorite corner. He sticks like glue on guys. Sure. I know, as you just saw there, Trey Amos is getting a lot of hype. I don't dislike Trey Amos, but in terms of a coverage guy, Ravel out of East Carolina just looks stupid. And his recover ability when a wide receiver actually does get a step or two on him is insane. Like, he snaps back to guys so fast. Like there was one or two instances that I saw on highlights and football games where like he actually almost starts to outrun the wide receiver after he breaks on him and gets open because he just like is so fast and on top of guys. And it's what's crazy is not only is he that fast, but he's 6'3". Like I feel like this, you know, usually tall cornerbacks aren't super. I don't want to say they're not sought after because obviously they are, but like you think of like a sticky cornerback, they're not usually that tall. Like
Sure.
I just
No,
think that he looks
I like the pick
rare.
too.
He's like a rare athlete to me, and I love him. And you just sprint the card up if you're the Rams. If I'm a Rams fan, I just let's get him. Let's get him in a uniform.
Sure. No, I mean at 23 at Green Bay, he was definitely. I was between.
Savone.
I'm not blanking on his name. Barron. I was
John
between
David.
Barron and Ravel there at 23 for Green Bay, and no, I like Ravel as a player.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would say LA's biggest need. Depending on what happens with the Matt Stafford and everything there, but no, I like the pick too. It's a great pick. A
True,
lot of people
true.
might, play at East Carolina. What was the competition like? But
I really hope
I
that you
think he's
take who
good.
I think you're gonna take here. There's a player that is just really two players, but there's a player that I'm just if out of any other mock draft, I feel like he goes higher. But
Yeah, no, and I wonder if we're thinking about the same person here, but I know who I'm going here with. A couple needs. A lot of people say Baltimore needs another receiver. I don't think they're going
I
to go
don't
that
hate that. I
here.
don't
So
hate that either.
they're not going to go receiver here. You look PFF needs receiver. I think they're going to go defensive side of the ball. Their secondary was very bad last year. However, there's rumblings that they are the favorites to trade for Jair Alexander.
Whoa, that'd be
So
wild.
with that in mind, with the assumption they do trade for him, we're going to go get a pass rusher. And why not get the guy who led the nation with 17 sacks last year in Mike Green?
There we go. That's what I would have taken too. They need pass rush help so bad.
He also had 22 and a half tackles for loss, which was only second to Abdul Carter. So, I think, Mike Green at pick 27 is just an unreal value.
Oh, wild, yeah.
And I think he, like you said, helps in the pass rush department, which, Baltimore wasn't the best in last year. I think that's just the no-brainer pick here if you're Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah, and we mentioned that he fell, and the thing is, in any mock draft or the draft in real life in the NFL, like players just fall. Like even there's no way Mike Green's gonna be there at 27. That's like, dude, did you see where the Eagles got Jalen Carter? Like
Cooper DeJean.
like it's insane. It's
Mhm.
insane. So I love that. I love that pick. That would have been my pick as well. Mike Green. Plus, I think even barring the Jair Alexander trade, like they might just say we need pass rusher more anyway and draft the guy there. And they got one of my favorite players in the draft last year, Nate Wiggins, playing corner, still developing. So maybe pass rusher kind of helps him play a little
Marlon
better.
Humphrey. If they
Yeah.
trade for Alexander, I think you get a guy like Mike Green on that defense is
He's gonna help you.
Looking pretty unbeatable. Especially, you got to play Josh Allen, you got to play Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah.
I'm big on Drake May. That's a guy you might have to play. You got to play the Dolphins offense possibly. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah, 100%. I got the Lions here at 28. Whew. Man, who's the Lion? Who is going to be a Lion? And the Lions don't care about positional value. They will reach down the board and take the guy that they think is a Lion. Did it with Jahmyr Gibbs, did it with Jack Campbell. They don't care. They think a guy's a Lion. They're going to reach down the damn board and they're going to take him. We're going to go with Princely Uman Mielen out of Ole Miss. He has started fights on the sidelines with fans. He is tested so far pretty solid. I just think that he's right there. I'm just Mississippi.
No, I know. I was just making sure we're locking it in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All
I
right.
feel like he's the Dan Campbell biting people off guys' kneecaps, and it goes right into the mantra of the Lions not being afraid to reach their hand down the board, put their hands in the cookie jar, and take wherever they like. They don't care. They don't care that James Pierce Jr. is still there. They don't care that Armor Menbu's still there. They want to go and draft the guy who they think is the Lion, even if Princely's projected to go maybe a little bit later. Maybe he's projected to go in the middle of the second round. They don't care. He's the guy that's starting fights on the sidelines at Ole Miss football games with the fans. And I think he's a fun player. I like Princely. He plays.
Yeah.
He's a chippy player. He plays with an edge, and for a guy that plays edge, I think that you probably like that. You probably like that. I like Princely there.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. I mean, edge, fills a need. Um, what version of Aiden Hutchinson are you going to get when he comes back? I mean, there was that one video of him sprinting. Was it earlier this week or last week? Came out. And
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, he definitely didn't look 100% or even close to it.
Mm-mm.
All right, so now we're sitting here with Washington at 29. And boy, oh boy, do they have some needs? They do. Do we go? I mean, it's hard to look at Washington and say they don't need a receiver. Yeah, you have Terry McLaurin, but outside of that, you don't really have anyone really catching passes. Could you go defensive back? Probably. I'm kind of torn between going defensive back here or going receiver. I mean, there's a guy like on the offensive side, there's a guy like on the defensive side.
That's the drop
I
off.
mean, I'm just gonna live. I'm gonna live or die. I'm gonna live or die by our mantra of get your young guy some weapons. And the receiver I'm gonna take is actually gonna be Alec Ilmanor out of Stanford. Big body guy, good hands. Put him opposite of Terry McLaurin. I think you give Jaden Daniels a very good weapon to throw to there. Excellent route runner.
Shades of Amon-Ra St. Brown with the slot type of a player.
Yeah, I mean, great hands, good slot, excellent route runner, smart guy. I mean, went to Stanford. Yeah, I mean, it's just the guy you're going to give like we hop around, get your young guys to work with and play with and throw to. So I like that. We'll go there. It was a tough one. I didn't know whether to go there or corner, but we'll just go. In Sweet Life Mock 1.0, we'll go Alec. Oh, I call him Eric. It's Alec.
Alec, yeah, Alec I am Manor.
Yes. We'll lock him in at 29 there.
And I think that if I'm a Bills fan and I see that pick that you swing Alec there instead of going with the other top-rated wide receiver or corner, I'm happy because you're taking either one of those, in my opinion. You're taking a wide receiver, or you're taking a cornerback. I mean,
oh, did I jump the gun?
Khair Alam was the CB2 in the against the Chiefs last season. It's the second that he went in, I mean, the game was over. They were targeting the whole game.
I think Taron Jackson, and then they get Christian Benford, which were not bad guys, pretty solid guys there, but not guys that are going to shut down your best player.
No, certainly not. So I think that there is a significant drop off at corner after you get past guys like Will Johnson, obviously, Travis Hunter and Savone, Jade Barron too. Maybe you don't look at him as a true corner, but like after those guys, is a really big difference between those guys and guys like Trey Amos, in my opinion. Isaiah Wright Thomas, Benjamin Morrison looks really good, but he had a hip surgery after a big injury this past season. So do you roll the dice for the Bills? I'm going to say that they don't at 30. And I think that they take the guy that is getting comps to, funny enough, Stephon Diggs, one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft, and they take Matthew Golden from Texas. I'm drafting all the Texas players today.
Yeah, you're drafting Texas. I'm drafting a lot of Georgia guys, so
Yeah,
it makes sense.
yeah. I mean, hey, two good teams.
And I have a feeling I know what's going to happen here with Philly getting another guy who dropped very far in a steal, only because I'm not
Well,
going to take him here with the Chiefs, only because I think Chiefs, your biggest need here is offensive line and a guy who, could be a steal here. Fell a little far down the board. We mentioned him briefly, a little earlier. Armand Mabou. You can move the fuck's his name? You can move Joe Tooney back out or back into guard, put Maboob out there at the left tackle, and you kind of solidify that hole in your offensive line. Always a right tackle. Well, even though your tackles were, your weakest
they
part
need
of your
tackles
offensive line.
so bad.
So, I mean, either way, right tackle, left tackle, they were the weak point of that offensive line. And, we saw in the Super Bowl where Philly was only rushing 4 guys and Mahomes was getting pressured like crazy. So,
Oh, it was like a damn all-you-can-eat buffet for the Eagles' defensive line. It was just go get them, peel your ears back, and just Josh Sweat get a
yeah.
piece.
I mean, I think they rushed 4 all game and pressured them at like 45%, dropback rate.
Everybody. Milton Williams was even eating.
Mm-hmm.
Young Milton.
All right, Jack.
Speaking of
Last
the
but not
Eagles,
least.
speaking of the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles here. You took Armand Memo, who's a guy I was looking at this spot, but obviously it makes sense. Chiefs probably going to snipe some offensive linemen there. They need offensive linemen very badly. I'm looking at edge here, and a couple guys are sitting here. I'm thinking about Jack Sawyer. Landon Jackson tested pretty wild today as well. Michael Williams already gone. Mike Green gone, obviously at this point. But I don't think that a guy like offensive tackle Cameron Williams is out of the picture here. 6'5", 335. I think that Stoutland, the offensive line coach, could just another guy like that could just be molded. Similar to like what I was talking about Shamar Stewart earlier. I think these guys are just pieces of clay that a coach could just eat up. But I'm gonna save a lost soul here who fell all the way down to 32. And the Eagles love their athletic edge rushers. We might lose Josh Sweat off a contract this season. We're gonna take James Pierce Jr., who is probably gonna have talking about fast 40 times. Probably gonna have at least a very fast. What is it called? The 10-yard split, where it's a little bit shorter. Like he seems to just have crazy get off speed off the line. They've shown that they're not afraid to draft athletic, shifty speed rushers like Nolan Smith.
Let me see.
And I think he kind of just
here get our whole board here. There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like that pick for the Birds. Obviously, I was thinking offensive line, but you draft the edge rusher. You're probably going to lose Brandon Graham, too. He's probably going to announce his retirement, I'd imagine, any day now. So fill a hole there.
Snipe a pick of that so we have it. I could just save it to the computer, too. But there it is. We have the Sweet Life mock draft 1.0.
No trades.
Odds. Jack picking the evens. And Jack, I think we did pretty well here.
Yeah.
So I'll ask. We'll go back and forth. I'll answer, then I'll ask you. Out of, since I picked the odds, you picked the evens. What would you say of my pick surprised you the most?
I mean, the one that sticks out is definitely.
I feel like I already know the answer, but
it's going to be Jackson Dart. As much as don't give it, people are going to be listening to this. They're going to think I don't like Jackson Dart. If any of you out there that have ever talked football with me, had a bar after a couple drinks, I love Jackson Dart. I freaking love Jackson Dart. I would just be surprised if Pittsburgh is the team to take him at 21. I could see maybe a team trading down or trading up and taking him somewhere around like 30, if the Bills is at a trade, or maybe, I don't know, maybe the Eagles trade. Someone takes him right at the end. Who knows? But, I know it's only a couple spots later. Maybe the Rams take him if he falls there 26 and they decide to develop a guy behind Stafford if they keep him for another year. I don't know. I don't hate the pick. If I had to pick one though that stood out to me a lot, I think that would be the one that stands out.
I mean, it's fair.
What about me? What about me? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, mine. I mean, looking it back over, the one that I wouldn't say surprised me. I'd probably pick Tyler Warren. As much as I do think, he gets drafted high, I don't think the Panthers are the team to do so. I think, I personally think they go defensive side of the ball. They have the 32nd ranked rush defense, and they're bottom 5 in pass defense as well. So I think they have a little bit more glaring needs defensively, but it's not that I hate the pick. I think they go elsewhere with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was definitely. That defense was definitely in play.
Yeah, we're just having fun here, though.
Opted for the. I like the idea of helping out Bryce. As shitty as that defense might be right now,
sure.
I just figured you got nobody at tight end. I mean, obviously Jatavion Sanders isn't he type of question mark, whatever. Sure. Tyler Warren is just
a dog.
He's a dog. He's a junkyard dog. So, but understandable. Defense is necessary there. We care about our Panthers. We want the best for the Panthers. So,
but yeah, there it is. Mock draft 1.0. We'll be back next week, I guess. We'll do another one. We'll flip the picks. Jack will take odds. I'll take evens next.
Maybe we'll do some trades in there.
Maybe some trades. Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, we're just gonna keep rolling until the draft and until next season. Leave some comments on, some picks you agreed with, some picks you didn't agree with, some hot takes of your own, or any video ideas. Man, I mean, it's gonna be a long off season. We need some ideas. So
yeah,
the more you guys help us out, the more we plan to help you out when next season comes around. Other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah, we're good, man. I'm preparing my notes for next week.
Alrighty. Well, Jack, until next week, I'll see you, boy.
Adios, guys.
GETRIGHT fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided.